Nicolas Chopin was a teacher of French language in Prussian and Russian-ruled Poland, and father of Polish composer Frédéric Chopin. Life. Nicolas Chopin was born in the village of Marenval-sur-Maiden, in the province of Lorraine, France. He was the son of François Chopin, a wheelwright and village administrator for Marenval, and Marguerite and Écoute Deflin, an educator respected by her colleagues and students. François and Marguerite were married on 17 January 1769. Nicolas had 4 sisters, only 2 of whom survived to adulthood: Anne, who married Joseph Thomas on 13 February 1798, and Marguerite, who married Nicolas Bastien on 2 December 1798. Nicolas' godmother was his aunt Thérèse Humbert and Écoute Chopin, the half-sister of his father François. Nicolas graduated from the gymnasium at Tantimont, a nearby advanced secondary school dedicated to training youth for the teaching profession and the priesthood. As village administrator, François Chopin was acquainted with Adam Jan Waidlich, the Polish-born estate administrator for Count Michel Jan Pak. Waidlich took an interest in the education of young Nicolas, teaching him the rudiments of the Polish language, while Waidlich's wife, a Parisian, Françoise Nicole and Écoute Schelling, taught him French and German literature, music, etiquette, calligraphy, and accounting. In late 1787, after the death of Count Pak, Waidlich returned to Poland with his family, and he offered 16-year-old Nicolas the chance to come with him. Waidlich became the supervisor of a tobacco company founded in 1777 by Jan de Kurt, Piotr Blank, and Andrei Rafalovich. Nicolas worked at the factory, 1787–89, probably as an accounting clerk. Nicolas and the Waidlich family lived with Adam's brother, Franciszek Waidlich, in tenements of the Holy Cross Church on Krakowski Przewyższe. Nicolas stayed there until 1792, working as Adam's personal assistant and possibly tutoring his children, Henryka and Mikołaj. His friends from this period included Jakub Benek and Jan Osten, a professor at the Elementary School of Artillery and Engineering for the Army of the Duchy of Warsaw. There is one extant letter written by Nicolas to his parents during this time. In the letter, he explains that he does not want to return to France due to the French Revolution and the likelihood that he would be conscripted into the army. The year 1792 saw the Second Partition of Poland, and the tobacco factory was closed down. In view of the limited prospects of employment in Warsaw, Nicolas considered returning to France. His plans came to naught due to illness, which lifted shortly before the 1794 outbreak of the Kosciuszko uprising. Nicolas joined the Warsaw Municipal Militia, rising to the rank of lieutenant. After a year he was wounded, just as the uprising was collapsing. Finding himself again unemployed, he was soon engaged at Czerniowo, in Mazowsze province, as tutor to the Lachinski family. Nicolas spent some 6 years with them. Central and Eastern Europe was then flooded with refugees from areas affected by revolution, and many of them found the same kind of employment as Nicolas. On Polish lands it became fashionable for even modestly well-to-do nobility to have a French aristocrat in the homes. Nicolas was not well born, so his position bespoke the substantial education and social graces that he had acquired during his previous 7 years among his adoptive Polish compatriots. Nicolas spent the next several years at Alezowa Wola with Countess Ludwika Skarbek and her family, tutoring the 4 children. On the 2nd of June 1806, he married a poor relative of the Skarbeks who lived with them and ran the household, Tekla Justyna Krzyżanowska. Justyna's brother would be the father of Włodzimierz Krzyżanowski, later a Union general in the American Civil War. A year later the first daughter was born, Ludwika, and they moved to a larger house on the estate. In 1810 their only son Frédéric was born. His godfather was Frédéric Chopin, who had been tutored by Nicolas Chopin. Count Chopin had fallen into debt and fled the Duchy of Warsaw, leaving his wife and 4 children. At their age they no longer required a tutor, so it was clear the Countess would no longer be able to employ the Chopins. Probably Nicholas had been thinking of moving to Warsaw even before the birth of his son Frederick. In July that year, Nicholas and Justina and the children moved to Warsaw, to the Saxon Palace, which housed the Warsaw Lyceum where he would teach French language. In October 1810, Nicholas was appointed collaborator and, in June 1814, regular professor of French language at the Lyceum. He held this post until the Lyceum's closure in 1833. Apart from these positions, in 1812 he was appointed professor of French language at an elementary artillery and engineers school, and in 1820 at a military training school, where he was active until the school was closed down in 1831. In 1833, with the reorganization of the educational system following the November 1830 uprising, Chopin was to have received a position at a planned pedagogical institute. While awaiting the new appointment, he received half wages and evaluated French teacher candidates and French works proposed for use in public schools. In 1837, when the institute failed to materialize, Chopin retired. Nevertheless, he continued on the examining committee till 1841. In addition, for a brief period in 1837, he was lecturer in French language at the Roman Catholic Clerical Academy in Warsaw. Nicolas Chopin died of tuberculosis in Warsaw on 3 May 1844, aged 73. He is interred with his wife at Powaki Cemetery, family. On 2 June 1806, Chopin married Justina Niekuty Krzyżanowska. The couple had 4 children: Ludwika, born 1807, who married Joseph Jedrzejewicz; their only son, Frédéric Franciszek, born 1810, a pianist and composer best known as Frédéric Chopin; Isabola, born 9 July 1811, who married Antony Barsinski; and Emilia, born 1813, who died of tuberculosis in 1827, aged 14. In 1829, Ambroży Mieroszewski painted oil portraits of Nicolas Chopin and Justina Chopin and the surviving children, Frédéric's older sister Ludwika, and his younger sister Isabola. The same year, Mieroszewski also painted Frédéric's first professional piano teacher, Wojciech Ywny. Frédéric's first cousin Włodzimierz Krzyżanowski, the son of Frédéric's mother's brother, became a Union Army brigadier general in the American Civil War. Assessment: Nicolas Chopin was, according to Wincentilo Pasinski, a man of great intelligence and culture, universally esteemed, a model teacher, and solicitous of his brilliant son Frédéric. Though he had come from a foreign country, with time he became completely Polonized and, undoubtedly, considered himself a Pole. Quote, "This was borne out by his willingness to fight for Poland's independence in the Kosciuszko uprising, after he had earlier refused to return to revolutionary France for fear of being conscripted into the French army.